What's up, everybody? David Yakir here for iHeartRadio's Yak About, a boomer's GPS guide to life. So if you're familiar with the years 46 to 64, then this is the place you want to be. So put your headphones on, go for a run, and listen as we yak about. Hey girls and guys, David here for Yak About today. On this broadcast and podcast, we yak about health, technology, politics, and anything that will help you be better, healthier, and more informed. So let's see what we have on our docket today. We are going to do a question and answer segment. I love those. It means you're listening and you're paying attention. A new one, Today in History. And finally, I've been promising you a bit on your phone addiction. So before we start, let's hear from our sponsors. Okay, before we begin, remember that this show is sponsored in part by New Vision Eye Center. If you care about your eyes, go see Dr. Minotti, Reinauer, Tate, O'Brien, and the rest of that great team, because I myself, Sally, Wayne, and the entire Yak About team wouldn't trust our eyes to anyone else. And by Chef Bill of Inspired Foods for You, the personal chef and catering company. Their clients on the Barrier Island have been raving about him and how he has made the food experience as unique and individual as the clients themselves. Some call him the caregiving chef. If it's a private chef you need or catering for events large and small, call Chef Bill at Inspired Foods for You at 772-217-5462. And I would be derelict if I didn't remind all of you small and medium-sized businesses that the David Yakir Group now has marketing programs designed specifically for you, from thought leadership programs to full-on marketing and media programs. And remember, in today's world, it's content and conversation which is critical to your go-to-market strategies. Call 212-244-6224 for a free consultation. That's 212-244-6224, or write to us at info@yakirgroup.com. Okay, so I have a few questions that came in through our Twitter account and through Facebook. And remember, you can always reach us on Twitter at Yak About Tech, or Facebook. You can look at the Yak About pages or Yak About Tech pages. So the first question is, I'm kind of an old guy, and the doctor keeps wanting to put me through screenings and tests. So the question is, which screenings and tests I should and shouldn't get as I age? Okay, fair enough. So actually, there are a number of articles on the subject, and this is where I came out. But remember, you got to still check with your doctor and do some research yourself. And remember, the internet is not always right. So here's some of my research, and go check on it. And remember, ask your doctor, look it up on the internet. If you are over 70, regular screening tests, especially when it comes to cancer, may be a big waste of time. So a growing number of health experts are worried that over-testing of those people in the 70s and 80s and even older are taking place. And these experts' concern is that unnecessary screenings could lead to invasive procedures or treatments that leave patients worse off than before, especially among those with serious health problems such as heart disease. So here we're going to talk about 4 tests that you may be able to avoid with your doctor's blessing, of course, as well as 2 tests you should get if you haven't already. First, having a colonoscopy. Past age 75 may do little to protect you against cancer, reports a new Harvard study of more than 1.3 million Medicare patients ages 70 to 79. Researchers found the cancer risk dropped from about 3% to a little more than 2% over a span of 8 years. At the same time, other studies have shown the risk of complications from tests increase with age, especially for those in their 80s. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, an independent advisory board of medical experts, recommends that screening for colorectal cancer in adults 76 to 85 be an individual decision, based on overall health and careful consideration of potential benefits and risks. So obviously, if you've had a polyp removed or have a family history of colon cancer, your risk may be higher and you probably should be screened. If not, you may be able to finally skip all that lovely laxative prep. Okay, next we have the mammogram. So experts pretty much agree that women should have a mammogram every 1 or 2 years until age 75. After 75, however, the evidence for continuing the exams is a bit murky. Recent studies say there is insufficient evidence to conclude yay or nay to mammograms past 74. A large European study of women 70 to 75 showed that screening mammograms may have limited benefits and could lead to overtreatment, putting some women at risk from harmful side effects. For women with several chronic conditions that could affect their life expectancy, the benefits of routine mammograms after 75 is questionable. Those women should discuss with their doctors whether continuing the exams is really necessary. Next, we have the PSA test for prostate cancer. So as far as I can see, no medical group recommends a PSA screening for prostate cancer past age 75. Yet recent research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that 41% of men in this age group still have the test, many at the recommendation of their physician. So the only thing I could see is that you should talk to your doctor, but many men age 76 plus can probably skip this one. Okay, next we have the pap smear. So after age 65, most women with no previous cancer or precancerous lesions are good to go if they've had 3 negative pap smear tests to check for cervical cancer in the previous 10 years. Unfortunately, most women have become so accustomed to having an annual pap smear that they have them even after undergoing a hysterectomy. So, ladies, assuming your physician agrees, you can cross this test off your annual to-do list. Next, we have the bone density scan, and it seems that this one is a must. While women should be getting routine bone density scans beginning at 65 or earlier, depending on their risk factors, men 70 and older also need to get a bone mineral density test to check for osteoporosis. This weakening of the bones is often considered a silent disease because its symptoms can develop unnoticed until a bone fracture occurs. In men, osteoporosis begins later than in women and progresses more slowly, but the problem is growing among men who are 70 plus. Indeed, by age 65 or 70, men and women are losing bone density mass at about the same rate, making this screening test critical for everyone, men as well as women, over 70 years of age. Okay, the next one is sort of new to me. I hadn't really heard of it before, but in my research it came up, and that is, if I say it right, abdominal aortic aneurysm screening. So, men 65 to 75 who have been smokers anytime during their lifetime should have a one-time ultrasound to screen for an abdominal aortic aneurysm, or AAA. The aorta, the main artery supplying blood to the body, extends from the chest to the abdomen, and men who have smoked are at a higher risk for the aorta to rupture, which is usually fatal. But if an aneurysm is caught before rupturing, it can be successfully repaired by surgery. The evidence is unclear whether routine screening would benefit women ages 65 to 75 who have been smokers in the past, but the panel recommends against AAA screening for women who have never smoked. Okay, let's take one short question before we go to break. And that is, interesting, very specific here. So you always talk about investigating alternative therapies besides medicines. I have one for you. What about ulcerative colitis? That's interesting. Did some research. can't much help you, you probably should talk to a doctor. But even though there is little scientific proof that it works, many people who have ulcerative colitis consider non-traditional or complementary medicine in addition to prescription medicines, and they may turn to these other treatments because, unfortunately, from what I'm studying, there is no cure other than the removal of the colon, right? So a sample treatment that I read about that I think that you may talk to your doctor about is probiotics and fatty acids are the most promising complementary therapies being studied for ulcerative colitis, but there is still not much known about their value. And as with any treatment, talk with your doctor before using any of these treatments. But I take probiotics, and I think just generally they improve my well-being and health. All right, why don't we take our break now, and we'll be back with more. I'm David Yakir. You're listening to What We Yak About today. We are back. So I thought I'd do a little Yak About Tech, a fun one today. So usually when I do Yak About Tech and I recommend something, it's usually about, apps that could benefit you, or health apps, or, home automation apps, that type of thing. But this is an app that I consider really fun and interesting, and I just want to introduce you to it. It's called Today in History. And what it is a simple app. You open it up every day and it says, hey, this is what took place today in history on this particular day or date. And it'll tell you events, people who were born, who died on these dates. But the other day I was just sort of looking at it, and there were three things that really caught my attention to tell you, the type of things that can take place all on the same day. So I thought I'd give you a sampling. So I opened up the app, Today in History, and the first thing I saw is that Today in History, on the balcony of the Federal Hall on Wall Street in New York City, George Washington takes the oath of office to become the first elected president of the United States. And that was great. And it reminds you that New York was the capital back then. And I looked below, and I saw another one that I thought was interesting. It was a World War II announcement that in the Führerbunker, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun commit suicide after being married for one day. Soviet soldiers raised the victory banner over the Reichstag building. So that took place. It seems like Hitler found his demise on the same day that George Washington became president. So, and then right under that, a longer story, which I'll give to you in full because I think it's really interesting. And that is the fall of Saigon was the capture of Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, by the People's Army of Vietnam and the National Liberation Front of South Vietnam, also known as the Viet Cong, on April 30th, 1975. And the event marked the end of the Vietnam War and the start of a transition period leading to the formal reunification of Vietnam into a socialist republic governed by the Communist Party of Vietnam. And by the afternoon of the next day, North Vietnamese troops had occupied important points of the city and raised their flag over the South Vietnam presidential palace. The South Vietnamese government capitulated shortly after. The city was renamed Ho Chi Minh City after the Democratic Republic's president, Ho Chi Minh. So these are sort of events that fell on the exact same day, different years, of course. But I think it's an interesting way to start the day. It sort of gives you sort of that little tidbits of history. All right. Anyway, that's it. I hope you'll download that. I think I know it's for iOS and Apple iOS, and I think you can get it for Android also. All right. That's today's Yak About Tech. Okay, we're back. I'm David Yakir. You're listening to Yak About. And for many of you who have been listening for, the last several years, on the Yak About Tech series, we get a lot of questions about technology. And throughout the few years we've been doing this, there are questions that come up time and time again. And I think I dealt with this once before, but it hit Twitter and Facebook about 3 or 4 times this week. So I thought I'd do it again. And that is, we were asked by several people questioning us, tell us about the World Wide Web, what it is, and give us a bit of history. So I thought I'd do that for you guys today because a lot of people don't know. They don't know the difference between the internet. They don't know what the web is. So I thought I'd tell you today. So the World Wide Web, or www, as you know when you put in the address, is an information system of interlinked hypertext documents. Hypertext is sort of when you have something that you can click on that'll lead you to something else. So you have a word and you can click on that word, it'll lead you to sort of the definition of that word. That's how you think about hypertext, right? So it's information system of interlinked hypertext documents that are accessed via the internet. It has also commonly become known simply as the web. Individual document pages on the World Wide Web are called web pages and are accessed with a software application running on a user's computer, commonly called a web browser. Web pages may contain text, images, videos, and other multimedia components, as well as web navigation features consisting of hyperlinks. Those are the things that are often highlighted in blue that you click on. Now, Tim Berners-Lee, a British computer scientist and former CERN employee, is considered the inventor of the web. On March 12, 1989, Berners-Lee wrote a proposal for what would eventually become the World Wide Web. The 1989 proposal was meant for a more effective CERN communication system, but Berners-Lee eventually realized the concept could be implemented throughout the world. Berners-Lee and a Belgian computer scientist, and I hope I say this right, Robert Cailliau, proposed in 1990 to use hypertext to link and access information of various kinds as web of nodes in which the user can browse at will. And Berners-Lee finished the first website in December of that year. The first test was completed around December 20th, 1990, and Berners-Lee reported about the project on the news group at alt.hypertext on the 7th of August, 1991. And on the 30th of April, 1993, CERN announced that the World Wide Web would be free to anyone with no fees due. So just to put that date in perspective, in April 1993, they announced that the World Wide Web would be free to everyone. That following September, in September of 93, I started Blue Marble Advanced Communication Groups, which was a World Wide Web development company. Before we end the show, I thought I'd put it out there that if you guys have any questions or subject matter that you think would be relevant for us to take up on this show, please don't hesitate to write to us or call us or do anything. But get in touch with us because we're here for you guys, and the purpose of the show is to get the information that you'd like out there. So you can always go to our Facebook site, Yak About or Yak About Tech. Either one is good, and you can even write Yak About Tech stuff on Yak About or Yak About Tech. But if you have any questions, health, nutrition, anything, just don't hesitate to write to us. So you can get us at Facebook, Yak About, or you can get us on Twitter, and you can get us at Yak About Tech. And just so you understand how Yak About Tech is spelled, because you're going to use it for email also, it's YAKABOUT TECH. There are 2 T's in there. And of course, by email, you can get us at yakabouttech@gmail.com. It's always much more fun to sit here and answer your questions knowing that this is the information that you're looking for. So, we know that, what we're doing here really is of interest to you. Any questions, any subject matter, anything you'd like us to take up, don't hesitate to get us on Facebook at Yak About or Yak About Tech. Twitter, of course, Yak About Tech. And by email, you can always find us at yakabouttech@gmail.com. Or, I'll put it out there for you guys. If anybody thinks that they have something that would be interesting to our audience, we'd welcome you on the show and record, a piece or have you come to the studio live to be on the show if you have something to contribute, something that you would think would be of interest to our audience. Let me give you added phone number. This is a 212 number. But it is for you guys who are in our listening audience down in the Florida. So it's 212-244-6224. That's 212-244-6224. Anything that you would find of interest, give us a call, 212-244-6224. And of course on Facebook or Google Plus or Twitter, it's Yak About, Yak About Tech, either one. So get in touch with us. And again, the email is yakabouttech@gmail.com. All right, guys. Bye now. Just a reminder, if you are new here, you can subscribe to Yak About on iTunes or any one of the podcasting systems that carry us. And if you are listening to us via radio in your local market, put it on your calendar and set it for iHeartRadio's Waxy 107.9 FM, 1370 AM, or Real Radio's 101.7. And remember, we post to all the major social networks. Just search for Yak About or Yak About Tech. And if you like us that much, download the Yak About mobile apps on both the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. With the apps, you'll always have access to our new shows, new guests, as well as the Yak About archives. In addition, the new apps will allow you to listen live, have access to app-only broadcasts, and you'll even be able to chat with me during the broadcast. So download the apps today. Our goal is to bring you the listening experience that will help you be better, healthier, and more informed than ever before. I'm David Yakir, and you've been listening to Yak About, a Dig production.